You're not sorry, you're never sorry, you never changed. You ruined my life. You ruined my life. I'm sorry. You're lying. If you were sorry, you would change.
He's not going to change. Weak men rarely do until it's too late. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. My name's Luke Radowski here of wearechange.org, and there's a lot of just absolutely wild and crazy news out there, as of course the situation is not all right with the presidency, as it looks like Joe Biden went over to France and crapped himself. That's what a lot of people are saying. Is it true? Well, he's definitely crapping on the American people and American interests abroad, as geopolitically the situation against the United States is not looking good, as Donald Trump has some very interesting support from the president of El Salvador, from 50 Cent, from Joe Rogan. What's really going on here? We're going to be talking about all those individuals and all the latest news here on this independent media broadcast. If you like the shirt featuring Joe Biden, you could get it on the bestpoliticalshirts.com. Atlas is a good dog and isn't testing me or challenging me in any way. And as soon as the lights came on, she was like, I'm going to get in my co-host spot. Every new subscriber gets one new treat for Atlas, as of course, we just lost like 600 subscribers for like no reason at all. I'm like, what's going on? Lots of YouTube malarkey going on, as there's a lot of shenanigans happening with these dudes, who, along with being body positivity supporters, are also Biden supporters, highlighting the worst of Western man, who clearly are overindulging themselves in the comforts of Western society that they are taking for granted, that surely soon won't be there because of their decadence. As weak men lead to hard times lead to strong men, and strong men lead to the situation that we're all in right now, which is a crap hole. As, of course, many Western nations all around the world are being literally invaded, as there's a full-on frontal geopolitical war expanding right now, as Russia has just announced that it is ready to strike the French military soldiers inside of Ukraine, as Vladimir Putin is retaliating against the many aggressive measures being made against him by the West by now threatening to supply British and American enemies with missiles so they could strike the Western forces that are arming Ukraine and striking Russia. This, as Russia has now also announced that they're going to be doing naval exercises in the Caribbean this summer. This, as tensions between the East and the West are boiling over, but don't worry. We have an extremely strong and competent leader in the Western world, is something that someone would say, but absolutely not true. We got Joe Biden that is looking more sprier than ever, especially with this clip of him making the rounds on social media right now of him arriving in France this morning. Poor guy doesn't even know where he is himself, as of course he also met with Emmanuel Macron, the French president, former Rothschild banker. As soon as he saw him, he told the French president that he has to be the first one to leave the ceremonies, and that's exactly what he did, especially after this clip that just went viral on social media, highlighting what looks like a pooping of the pants moment from the President of the United States.
Distinguished guests, please welcome the Honorable Lloyd J. Austin.
Now, some of those sound effects might have been added for entertainment purposes, but what happened in Joe Biden's pants, no one knows. I wasn't there. I don't want to know. But it is clear, according to some news accounts, that Joe Biden was whisked away mid-ceremony, allegedly, right after this incident, as many people are saying, yeah, he actually did kind of probably crap himself As some people are saying, no, this is normal behavior. He actually just walked off at the end of it. It wasn't in the middle of it. Regardless of that, there's a plethora of a lot of these videos from this morning showing Biden trying to sit in an invisible chair, forgetting where his seat is, talking about how many Russians have passed away in Ukraine, and then getting pulled away by his wife, Dr. Jill. As after this, Joe Biden proclaimed that he knew Vladimir Putin for over 40 years. As of course, 40 years ago, he was an undercover KGB agent, which it's probably unlikely that Biden had any kind of relations with him at that particular point in time. As the president took national stage and declared that he did authorize the Ukrainian military to use American weapons on targets within Russia.
I know for years you resisted the idea of American weapons being used for any sort of direct strike inside Russia. But we did witness this shift in recent days, authorizing American weapons for limited direct strikes. Are American weapons being used right now inside Russia?
They're authorized to be used in proximity to the border. We're not authorizing strikes 200 miles into Russia. We're not authorizing strikes on Moscow, on the Kremlin.
This as Kyle Becker took to social media with this clip saying, quote, voting for Biden is literally voting for World War III at this point, as this is a major escalation that is extremely troubling. As the man bringing us on the brink of a potential global war between Western and Eastern powers came out and also said that the United States will not surrender to, quote, bullies and dictators, as he and his political party are literally arresting his political opponents. As he also said that the risk to democracy is, quote, at its highest in 80 years, as of course it is. His DOJ, his intelligence agencies are literally going after a lot of Donald Trump supporters to the point where some people, including myself, are calling the former president of the United States a thug life representative, a shirt that you could get exclusively on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. Again, if you haven't checked out our store, what are you waiting for? We got some really awesome, incredible products for you, including lawn signs, including supplements, including a lot of awesome t-shirts. WeAreChange.shop is filled with some really incredible stuff, as we just also launched our Convicted Felon for President 2024 t-shirts that are now available in blue and white and highlight your support for a convicted felon. As of course, if you're going to vote for anyone, why not a convicted felon? And why not highlight your disdain for the current system at large that clearly isn't representing you through a t-shirt? This one highlighting Biden at his spryest moment is also a great one to wear around. I love these t-shirts because they're not only a great way to spark up a conversation with friends and loved ones and random strangers walking down the street, but it's also a way to show people that they're not alone. This is your way of doing lazy forms of activism. You get to support this independent media organization by getting a t-shirt, but also, most importantly, you get to do your part when it comes to spreading messages that have been censored on social media. You cannot censor a thought because you could put it on a t-shirt, you could wear it out to the general public, and you could spur on some critical thinking, some analysis, some light bulbs going off in people's heads, all through thebestpoliticalshirts.com. And if you haven't done that, and if you haven't engaged, and if you haven't tried to live your fullest life and the truest that it could be, representing your thoughts and expression to its fullest, what are you doing? It's super fun once you let go, once you show people exactly who you are, once you start speaking the truth, everything synchronistically starts to line up for you in a magical, most amazing way once you stop hiding who you actually are, once you start speaking the larger truths out there and being a larger representative of it, as you could do that right now on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. Shouts out to all the people who do and send us photos. And you could send us photos of you wearing the gear on info@wearechange.org. Email us those pictures, and we'll put them up on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. This, as of course, there's a lot of propaganda. There's a lot of establishment, celebrity, Hollywood types that have recently come together and are telling you to vote for Joe Biden, a man who literally is bringing us on the brink of a total global war. As these celebrity actors and actresses that are tied into some really sinister people within the industry came out against Donald Trump just hours after he personally announced, according to the Express in the United Kingdom, that he would declassify bombshell documents related to some of the biggest conspiracies in our society, particularly surrounding JFK, the events in New York City in 2001, and of course, the Epstein client list that many people are alluding some of these celebrities might be tied into, as of course, this could be one reason why they recently all came together and released a PSA against them. Now, we don't know if that's true or not, but on Fox and Friends, Donald Trump this past Sunday came out and asked if he would declassify these documents, with him specifically saying, yep, as his short list of VP candidates also was just released, according to some sources. And I'll be quite honest here, I'm not really inspired by the personal choices here, other than maybe J.D. Vance and Byron Donalds here, as all the other people that he's kind of toting around do represent larger establishment figures that would be a threat to his personal health and security, especially if he becomes the next president of the United States. All of this as the NYPD just revoked Donald Trump's permit to defend himself after the conviction, highlighting how police departments will do anything and everything that they're told, including some of the worst horrible human atrocities that you think they are not capable of doing. This as Donald Trump is still leading Joe Biden in the polls after this guilty verdict, after he became a convicted felon, as it's pretty clear that he is on a pathway towards total victory, as major online personalities and influencers like Joe Rogan recently came out and said that, quote, the Democrats made a fatal error by making Trump a convicted felon. As now, there's a lot of people in the hip-hop industry showing support for Donald Trump. As Tony Hinchcliffe mentioned, how there's going to be now a lot of black voters that are going to be like, hey, I want to support this guy. Sentiments ushered by, of course, 50 Cent, a major rapper who came out and said that now black men are identifying with Donald Trump after his guilty conviction, which, of course, a lot of people believe as being extremely politically motivated, because it is. Another supporter of Donald Trump that came out against the larger prosecution against him is the president of El Salvador, Bukele, who came out and said that the lawfare against Donald Trump, quote, is just making him the greatest campaign ever.
It was a way to stop the candidacy, then he's probably in trouble. But if there's no way to stop him from competing in the election, all the things that they do to him will just give him more votes, right?
That seems to be happening.
Yes, I mean, either you stop the candidacy or you let him be. But just, hitting him you're making the greatest campaign ever. I mean.
Do you think they know that?
Some of them, I think some of them do, but of course the ones that don't, or they think that, that's the problem with endogamous groups, right? Because they all, we're so great, yeah, let's do it. And, they're making a huge mistake.
This from an interview with Tucker Carlson that flew down to El Salvador to speak to their current president that is absolutely changing the situation there for his citizenry very dramatically, especially allowing open and free commerce with Bitcoin while prioritizing safety and security in a way where actual criminals are punished and actual law-abiding citizens are allowed to live their lives without major government intervention in it. As Tucker and Bukele later went on and described the spiritual and physical war that all of us are kind of involved in, highlighting a very important conversation that I think is worth listening to. And if you haven't checked out the Tucker Carlson-Bukele interview, you should definitely do that, as it highlights some important perspectives about what is possible, especially here in the Western world that is dealing with, I would say, failed leadership that is going after everything good and holy. If you agree with that, share this video with your friends and family members. We are being brought very close towards a full, all-out global conflict. We have one candidate who isn't there, who probably just pooped his pants, who is walking around just taking orders, not really being coherent at all, pushing us closer towards absolute doom and destruction. And then we have another candidate that's promising to end and stop these conflicts. Will he? Time will tell. as of course we hope he keeps his campaign promises. As it's important to also note here, a lot of politicians usually promise a lot of things. They don't always deliver. Will Donald Trump deliver? Let me know what you think down in the comment section down below. As of course, the biggest vote that you can make is vote in your own personal life and decision with what you vote with your dollar with. Make sure you vote and you support small businesses like thebestpoliticalshirts.com, wearechange.shop, and support companies that work for you in an individual one-on-one basis. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys actively supporting this independent media organization. Because you do, this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on youtube.com/wearechange.